So one of the main questions that I get is, cool, something was meant to take 1 hour, but it took 2 hours. What do I do now? So you one step back, which is understanding that if you think a task is going to take 1 hour, you don't put 1 hour, you put 1.5 hours. That's to start with. If you think a task is going to take half an hour, you put 1 hour. If you think a task is going to take 15 minutes, you put half an hour. If you think a task is going to take 5 minutes, you put 15 minutes. There always needs to be buffer time, because we think we're going to get it done so quickly, but there's the time setting it up. There's the time to get water. There's the time to go to the toilet quickly. There's the time that someone randomly rings you and you need to have a quick conversation to just say, call me back later.
Yeah.
All of these different things that we don't take into account into our day. So the first thing is just making sure there's extra time to whatever we think it's going to take. And then the second thing is, let's say, for example, you thought it was going to take half an hour and it's going to actually take 2 hours. Like while you're halfway through the task, you're realizing that. So you get to the 1 hour and you'd stop, and then you'd reschedule another 1 hour for the next available time that you can do. And it could be that in that same day, you've got time that you've blocked out for other things, but you feel like this is more important than one of those tasks that you've got in the day. All you do is you move that task that you've got in that day to the next day, and then you put in a second 1 hour slot later on down the day. But if you don't do that, what happens is you end up spending 2 hours on that without looking at your calendar. And before you know it, everything else is pushed back. And instead of finishing at 6 p.m., you're finishing at 8 p.m., you're finishing at 10 p.m. Or you're finishing this many tasks, you're finishing just one task, but that has put you in a deficit for every other task that you need to get done in terms of when that deadline is due. So then you're overly stressed, and then you go into procrastination, not because your timeline isn't set up, but more because you're overwhelmed and you're thinking, how the hell do I get anything done? That's kind of like my number one tip. And the second tip is get help if you need help. So like the only way to increase your 24 hours, in my opinion, is to either have a tool or to pay someone. Pay someone at £10 per hour or whatever the minimum wage is for that person's age, and get someone to do things for you that you could do yourself, but you don't have the time to do it. And you only need to start paying people once your timeline is full, but you'll only know if your timeline is full if you start putting things on your calendar. If you don't put things on your calendar, you'll always think you've got enough time until it's too late.